From the initial pickup excitement to getting home and realizing I prefer my Model 3 that's twice as old and half the price, I've had a range of feelings about the most powerful car Tesla has ever produced, and I've decided to keep it. The 7-day Carvana return period has ended, I made my first loan payment, and I've put over 1,000 miles on this car. Honestly, its primary use case has been hitting the Chipotle drive-thru, but I've since taken it on windy back roads and long highway stretches. I've got to admit, I've gotten pretty used to it, but not in the sense of it becoming boring or stale. It's just a car that I'm finally fully confident in. Normally, I push a car to its limits and then wonder how I could upgrade from there. But no matter how hard I try or where I go, I physically cannot reach the limits of this car. I almost never have to truly floor it with 100% of its torque. It's the only car I've bought that I haven't reached top speed in, and I almost never even have to plug it in to charge. It took 2 weeks to finally hit the low battery warning, which alerted me it's 65 miles of remaining range, which is literally more range than some EVs have at 100%. Now I have my full bearings of this car and understand exactly what it's capable of. Its capabilities being something I can't exceed no matter how hard I try. The craziest experience is driving the BRZ, which requires shifting 3 times just to hit 60 miles an hour. And then getting in the Plaid, which goes 100 to 160 miles an hour more quickly than both other cars go 0 to 60. When I adjusted suspension from sport to comfort, paired with these $1,500 Pirelli tires, this car just effortlessly floats down the road. The thing is, there's not really a question of if I can do this or that in this car, it's just if I want to or not. It's like I imagine where I want the car to end up, and then I just teleport there. I've still yet to come across another car on the road that's quicker than this, and yesterday was the first time in my life I was chased by a motorcyclist who couldn't keep up with me. Now, I'm still not sure if I would be willing to pay over $100 grand for this car, but every day I get in, I can't believe that what's in my hands right now costs less than what a BMW i3 used to sell for. Now, with that said, all EVs have become way cheaper, which I think is sick. It's so cool. And every time I do something crazy in the Plaid, I just SMH my head and I'm like, how is this possible? And why do I have it? It's so just unnecessarily unnecessary. Like, I would rename it to the Model S Extra. It's just so extra, and it's so over the top in the most casual, non-head turny, regular looking car ever. It has this much horsepower, with this acceleration, with this top speed, while looking like this, and handling and slowing down like this. And I do have an appointment for a brake job coming up shortly. I have to constantly remind myself that this car speeds up more quickly than it slows down, because I do not want to seriously injure myself. But in the case you're seriously injured, your injury could potentially be worth millions without time-consuming appointments, paperwork, upfront costs, and just reliving the traumatic event over and over. Insurance companies often lowball clients' claims, but if you become Morgan & Morgan's client, they will fight to get you the money you deserve for getting hurt. They've achieved significant verdicts in the past couple months for victims involved in a huge plethora of injuries, including life-altering car crashes. Like $12 million in Florida, which is 34 times the highest insurance offer, $26 million in Philadelphia, 40 times the highest insurance offer. One client was hit by an uninsured motorist and sued his own insurance after they offered just $50,000, which didn't even cover medical expenses. So Morgan & Morgan secured him over $5 million. Morgan & Morgan's fee is absolutely free unless you win your case. You're just a few clicks away from potentially changing your life. You can start your own claim now with Morgan & Morgan at forthepeople.com/goherping, linked in the description, or by using your phone to scan the QR code on screen. Thank you to Morgan & Morgan for sponsoring. Back to the video. I obviously enjoy when my cars stand out, but I have to admit that I've really also enjoyed not being approached even a single time for what's objectively more impressive than the cars that were garnering attention on a daily basis. To take it a step further, I've been considering debadging the Plaid emblem and maybe even like powder coating the brakes black or something. Like maybe I go from making my regular cars brighter and louder to making this car blend in by being as unnoticeable as possible, which is even easier considering Teslas are, yeah, obviously completely quiet. Ripping down back roads in my BRZ generates so much noise that I really only have one chance before people start to like notice what I'm doing.
The thing is, this road has no traffic, like, ever. There's always just one car, but the problem is, this car that we're in is so fast that we always catch up to that one car, no matter how long I wait. There's always that one car. And because we're moving at the speed of light, there's no amount of distance you can give that'll give me time to enjoy the road. Oh my god. 900 watt hours per mile. That's insane. I'm gonna be honest, I'm used to the car, and not in a negative way, but in an actually positive way. This is the first car I was actually scared learning to drive. I'm not scared anymore. Now I really feel like I understand the car, I know what it can do, and I'm like, alright, this is actually a pretty cool car. I can't reach its limits. Like, easy example, the Subaru BRZ, I'm like redlining all the time, I can shift through all the gears. I never really, like, I'm always limited by what the car can do. And even the Tesla Model 3, I can accelerate fully, I can hit top speed, and I'm always limited by an electronic limiter of some sort. This car doesn't have any limiters. This car just keeps on going, and it's the first time where I'm only using like a third to half of its capabilities, which is crazy. It takes 100% self-control to drive this car. The other cars, it's just like, all right, I can't go any faster. This car is always ready to do more. It's like, I feel like I'm doing it a disservice because I just can't fulfill what it's, like, this is, okay, I get it. I understand what a track car is now. Man, I was gonna turn right too. I don't want to be stuck behind them. Oh, that's a cop.
But okay, what about regular daily driving? Well, I would change a couple things. It still needs new tint for privacy and for heat. The yoke is fine for fast driving, but I'd still prefer to swap it with a regular wheel, and I do occasionally miss full self-driving, which my Model 3 has. But past the small details, even just casual drives around town are next level. Not because of the speed though, but because of the sound system, and the cooling seats, and the comfort suspension, the double pane glass, and not even having to consider looking at my battery level no matter how many errands I have or how far out of town I've driven on any given day, simply because it's pretty much a guarantee I have enough range. And these are all things that I am so cognizant of every time I get in. This car is crazy. It's comfortable, it's record-breaking, but it's practical. And dare I say, I don't really want to go back to a garage without a Plaid in it now.